Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
I have a question for you, and I really want you to think carefully about this because it's important. Are you living the life you've always dreamed of? Or, like many of us, have you just kind of settled for being less than truly happy? Do you secretly yearn for love, for freedom, for abundance, for peace, or for purpose? You know, we all face challenges and struggles every single day, and that's deliberate because it's those challenges and struggles that ignite our spiritual growth. Ultimately, the only thing that really matters is whether you are ready to honor your own power and become the author of your own destiny. Well, today's guest, Mike Murphy, did just that. At the darkest moment of his life, Mike was shown a simple yet powerful method for manifesting his heart's desires. And he used it to change his own life. I mean, radically change it. See, Mike started out broke, desperate, divorced, and alcoholic. Well, fortunately, the simple method he learned created a profound transformation, empowering Mike to become a wealthy businessman, a loving husband and father, and a passionate philanthropist. His wonderful book, The Creation Frequency, reveals the precise process that enabled Mike to make this extraordinary transformation. Mike is passionate about helping people tune into the vibration at the heart of the universe, the creation frequency, and use it to create lasting fulfillment, prosperity, and happiness. But you know, Mike is such a slacker, he doesn't stop there. He's also the founder of Mountains of Hope, a wellness retreat in the Andes Mountains that champions life transformation through holistic education, integrative therapies, and scientifically backed wellness programs that are designed to empower, enlighten, and guide individuals towards peak wellness. Mike, I am so thrilled to have you join me for the Abundance Journey.
Thank you, Elaine. Great to be here with you.
Oh man, this is going to be such a treat because we are so like-minded, and I could just jump in here with both feet and we'd go off on tangents forever. But I know there's a couple of things that we can do that will really sync up our energy, both yours, mine, the entire audience, and also our higher power, whatever you choose to call the God of your understanding. I typically call it the divine. And so there's two things we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is breathe together 3 times, 3 deep breaths. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. And as we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. So 3 times, I am consciousness. And then I'm going to read an intention. And we're going to hold that intention in silence for 78 seconds. I don't think any other show on the planet is doing this, but it's really important that we spend the time to hold that energy for 78 seconds because the current research shows the average human attention span is shorter than that of a goldfish. I think they live life all over again every 8 seconds or something like that. And it's hard for the God of your understanding to tap into the energy you really want to experience when you're changing your mind all the time. So there's 2 things that I do that I found really help me hold that space for 78 seconds of silence. The first thing to do is pick 2 or 3 words that you hear in the intention that just sound uplifting and expansive and empowering. It's that vibration that you truly want to experience. And just repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over to yourself as we go through the 78 seconds. And the other thing to do is notice what's happening in your body, because your body is a great big receiver for energy. And you might notice things start to move. Like maybe your left foot hurts and now your right knee hurts. I know it's weird, but you might get goosebumps or feel a rush of heat go through your body. Anything like that is just a sign that the divine is locked in on your new vibration and you are headed to reach that intention, so that you will be experiencing that intention through the course of our conversation. How cool is that? All right, Mike, are you ready to play?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we hold the intention that we acknowledge our power. So we partner effectively with the divine to craft our own prosperity and fulfillment. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was really cool.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
What was that experience like for you, Mike?
Well, the funny thing is, I was just having this conversation a few hours ago that that's who we really are. We're consciousness. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my body. I'm eternal, timeless consciousness. And when we can tap into that, as you said in the intention, we regain our power and we're able to co-create with the creator of all.
Oh, so true, so true. And it's really interesting. Sometimes I get images, and I got this image of it was a band of light coming down from above, and it was it was like there was a belt around it that had tightened it really tight, so it wasn't very big. And when we loosened the belt and we let go of all of the limiting beliefs, all of a sudden this massive golden light just came down around each person as we were willing to let go of all of that, all that stuff that's made up anyway.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh.
Well,
Mike, I love the work that you're doing. I am so blown away by what you're up to. Why are you so incredibly passionate about sharing the creation frequency and really helping people experience their own transformation?
Because I was so lost in my life, and I was so blessed to meet this man that taught me this, that I'm forever grateful to him. And I really believe, I've had great losses in my life. And through those great losses, I've learned that the most important thing is to live for others and not live for ourselves.
It's so interesting that you say that, because we are truly all one. And so when we notice what's happening for others, and we can really tap into what their experience is and be present for them, That's when we're truly embodying the divine. That's when
Amen.
we're able to allow more divine energy to flow through us to benefit other people. So, yeah, it makes a huge difference. And when you're all wrapped up in yourself and your own head, and, but this is what I need, and I need to be validated, and all this stuff, you lose sight of what the real gifts are.
Yeah.
And I know you've had some really, really challenging experiences. You lost your beautiful wife to cancer. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And I really want to commend you for your generosity and taking such good care of her and in sharing your experience with the rest of us through your book.
Well, I was so blessed to have her come into my life, and we were only together 10 years, and 9 of those years we're dealing with cancer. But what she taught me so much, on December 1st, 2010, the oncologist said to her, "Margot, unfortunately, the cancer spread to the lining of your brain. If you do nothing, you have 6 weeks to live. And if you treat it, you have 6 months to live." I wrote another book called Living in Color that chronicles those 6 months and flashbacks into our love story. But what I was so blessed to do, because this person loved life so much, she would fight every single day, 2 brain surgeries, have her lungs drained numerous times because she wanted to live another day. But every night, she would prepare to take that last breath. So imagine the impact on me. Here's this woman, 15 years younger than me, fighting every single day for another day of life because she loved it so much, and every night preparing and doing everything necessary so that when she did take that last breath, she would leave here in a state of love. And so I was just blessed to be able to watch this.
It's really interesting that you say that, to leave in a state of love. I love you saying that, because it was really interesting. I was blessed to have a stroke on New Year's Day, 2005. And I always say blessed because that's when I got to have a conversation with our higher power. And I did not feel bad at all while I was having the stroke. I mean, yeah, my right arm was numb and the right side of my face was numb and I wasn't making any sense, but I felt great. I was totally relaxed. I was comfortable. And I was just having a blast having this incredible conversation with the divine. And
Yeah.
It's so interesting that from where we are now in the human form, we always think that something different is really scary. We don't know what to expect. But what I was shown very clearly is that that transition is actually a graduation. The best analogy I've been able to come up with, it's kind of like the difference between kindergarten and first grade. Now, when I was in kindergarten, we had nap time. When I went to first grade, no more nap time. Well, when you're physical, you have a body. When you're not physical, you don't have a body, but there's a whole lot more going on that's really cool, that's really fun. And yes, you can still chat with your loved ones who are in physical form if they're willing to receive it. And obviously, you've been receiving a lot from the divine with your incredible generosity and your mission and all that you've been doing. Now, I ask everybody the same question because I've never had the exact same answer. And I love this question. Given all the things that you do and how you love to support people, how do you define abundance?
For me, it's pretty simple. When I can pour my life and my heart and my soul and my love into another person and see them either heal or transform. I mean, we have some guests at the Mountains of Hope right now that are just doing amazing things and transformations and healings. And when I'm talking to our general manager just earlier today, I mean, tears literally come to both of our eyes as we're blessed to be able to do this work and to see real healing take place, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Healing is healing. And so that's what turns me on. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, that transformation and being willing to experience that transformation. It was so interesting. A few months ago, I was in my kitchen doing dishes, and I get downloads all the time. And I was just kind of musing over, sometimes you're working on a project and it just comes together, piece of cake, easy peasy. And then there's other times when you're working on something and it's just a slog. It doesn't matter what you do. There are roadblocks, there are barriers, there are problems, there are issues, and it's just such a hassle. And I was just kind of musing over, I wonder what's going on with that. I wonder why that happens. And all of a sudden, I heard and felt this really loud, forceful voice in my body that said, when you deny your power is denied to you.
Yeah.
When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You are more powerful than you can imagine. And I was just like, whoa, how have I been denying my power? You know, don't want to do that anymore. Sorry. And I realized that often we have this challenge of the words that we use. We diminish who we are through the words we use. Like, I'll try. There is no such thing as try. You do it or you don't do it.
Right.
You know, I want leaves me wanting. You know, I need makes me needy. So I've been switching my vocabulary to focus more on I choose. Because when I choose, I'm using my power.
Yeah. Amen. And that's what we have. See, the problem I see in the world today is so many people want to be victims, especially the younger generation, right? They're victim of this, victim of that. The truth of the matter is that we're either all victims or none of us are victims. So pick your poison. And the real truth is that we're powerful creators. And we came here to create something. And we chose this life and we chose this time. You know, I keep telling people that I didn't really choose this time. Someone made a mistake, but I'm here in these crazy times nevertheless, right? And so once I can say I'm no longer a victim, and victimhood is great. I love playing the victim. Believe me, I love self-righteous anger. I love being the victim. But the truth is, when I'm a victim, I've given my power away. And when I'm a creator, now I take my power back. Now, the caveat and the difficult part of this, I have to accept everything in my life that's good and bad and all of it. Okay. If I'm the creator, I created everything, whether consciously or subconsciously, I created it. When I take ownership of my life, whether it's going great or whether it's a total disaster, I am now a powerful creator and now I can change it. I have the power to change it and become what I really want to become and create the life that I really want for myself.
That is so true. And I could not agree with you more, Mike. And I think there's a lot of us who, by and large, we're fairly often in our power. And then every once in a while we get triggered and something just goes haywire. What are you noticing with the people that you're working with? Where do you find that they typically get stuck?
In their story. Okay.
Yeah.
We all got a story, right? And what I find with these people, because normally the story leads to emotional trauma. The emotional trauma leads to some physical manifestation of some sort of illness. That's the body trying to say, hey, wake up, pay attention. Your mindset's wrong. Your energy's wrong. Something's wrong, right? So I really say, hey, listen, let's leave the story behind. I love the work of Byron Katie.
Yes, me too.
One of my favorite T-shirts is who would you be without your story? Uh-huh. Well, the truth is we'd be free. We'd be that powerful creator. Okay, it's our stories that weigh us down. And I think it was last February, I had a retreat for 13 people, and there was so emotional trauma, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, and all this trauma. And I finally said, okay, how am I going to reach these people to drop these stories and to embrace a new way of life? And so that's what we really worked on. And we had enormous breakthroughs. Almost everybody in that retreat had enormous breakthrough and realized that the story's not serving them any longer. It's just a story anyways. So they started to drop the stories, change their mindset from a limiting mindset to a powerful, empowering mindset. And more importantly, go into this beautiful heart and start tearing down those walls and saying, okay, what happened to me there? What really happened to me there? And then heal it and shine light on it. Because here's what happens. We get hurt, whether it's as a child or an adolescent or a young adult. And where do we go? We flee to the mind. And in the head, we're dead. I call it the psychopath, the committee of psychopaths, right? But I don't get hurt here. See, from here, I can lie, I can steal, I can cheat, I can manipulate you. But here, this is my eternal timeless consciousness, as you were talking about in the beginning of the show, right? I can't do those things from here because this is my essence. This is who I truly am. So what we try to do at Mountains of Hope is to gently nudge people out of their head, back into their heart, start to heal it, and then start to open it again and get that real juice of life, because you're only going to get it from here. You're not going to get it from here.
So true. And it's a real challenge for people to go into their hearts and acknowledge what is present. But one of the things that I've noticed is something that I call divine duality. We are human beings. We have emotions. We get hurt. This happens on a regular basis, right? We get inconvenienced and we get out of sorts. And then we also have our higher consciousness. And just like, everything in our lives is duality. You breathe in and then you breathe out. You wake up and then you go to sleep. You eat something and then you digest something. Everything, our entire existence is duality. It's no surprise that we were given our human selves and our higher consciousness selves as that balance point. And so learning how to collaborate between the two, because you need both. If you're only in the human side, you're not paying attention to the divine guidance. And no wonder you get stuck. If you're only in your higher consciousness, you're not taking any action. You're just waiting for magic to happen. And that's not how it works. You're here to take action towards your dreams. So one of the key things that I've noticed whenever I want to experience a transformation, or any of my clients does, there's always something that has to shift inside. Now, it could be a mindset, it could be something. What have you noticed your clients have to be willing to shift in order to experience that transformation?
Well, another great spiritual teacher in the world today that I'm sure you're familiar with is Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, yeah.
And Dr. Joe says, if you want to change your personal reality, you need to change your personality. And what is our personality? Is what we think, what we do, what we say. Those are our actions. That becomes our personality. But if I'm sick or that's led me into bad situation in my life, I need to change that about me. I need to change myself. There's something in me that needs to change, and then I can change my personal reality. You mentioned duality. See, here's the problem. We come from singularity, and we get into these animal bodies. We urinate, we fornicate, we defecate, but we're spirit, we're consciousness. And so right there is the duality that will drive you nuts, okay? Until you learn to master that and to realize that you're not your body. Your body is 50 trillion individual living conscious cells working together to create a vessel for your soul. And so when you get to that point, you can go back to singularity and get rid of this duality. That's the problem, okay? We live in duality. You can't have hot without cold. You can't have black without white. You can't have joy without suffering. So we just have to learn that this is where we're in. You know, one of my favorite books I read a million years ago, M. Scott Peck, he wrote The Road Less Traveled. And the opening sentence is, life is difficult. And so the problem with the new agers of today in the world, they don't want to admit that life is difficult. You know, you get stuck in traffic jams when you're supposed to be home and do this podcast. Babies get cancer. Babies die. Life is difficult. So we have to rise above that and realize that there's no such thing as death. We're back to singularity now. And then we lose that fear. And guess what? We're free. We're comfortable in our own skin. So we do live in duality, but duality is the illusion, especially now with quantum physics. We realize that it's all energy. And energy can never be created nor destroyed. So that's what we have to realize. But that takes a lot of work and learning to do all that.
Yeah, we forget. We just forget. That's the thing that's so funny, because we may know for a little while we're in that higher consciousness state, and then somebody cuts you off in traffic, and all of a sudden, you go back into that human state. And that whole dichotomy is very deliberate. One of the things that I was shown is the idea of divine context. Now, from my context, I really want to be right. Like all the time would be really good. That would make me happy if I was right all the time and everything went my way. And that's not how life works, right? Stuff happens and there are challenges. From the divine context, the purpose of your life is to create spiritual expansion and spiritual growth. You know, it was really interesting during my conversation with the divine. They said, so everything is love. Absolutely everything is love. You know, the computer that you're on is love. The chair you're sitting in is love. You are love. The divine God is love. So if everything is already love, how do you expand love? How do you expand the divine? And I was stumped. And finally, they said, you create human beings who don't think that everything is love, and you give them contrast, the difference between what is wanted and what is not wanted. And that friction gives them a choice, the superpower of choice. They either step back in fear or they step forward with grateful curiosity and love. They don't know what's coming, and they know that they're capable and resourceful enough to just roll with it. Whenever we do that, we literally expand the divine. We expand love. Being physical is the expansion joint of the divine. How cool is that?
Yeah, and I would say just a tad differently that everything is frequency.
Yes.
Even the chair, the this, the that, everything's vibrating at a certain frequency, but the highest frequency is one of love. And the more I study and the more I analyze things, is there's really two emotions, love and fear.
Yeah.
The acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. So that's not even real, okay? That's an illusion too. So that leaves us with love. Okay, so if we can tap into that frequency of love, and, we talk about intentions at the beginning of the show. The creation frequency is all about creating intentions. But the more love that I can attach to these intentions that go into the field of infinite possibilities, the heart is the magnet, and the heart is where the love is. And so I can draw these intentions back to me, the more love I attach to them. So you're absolutely correct there, Elaine.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's kind of like the universe acts as a mirror for us. And what we put out in it tends to get reflected back. So if I'm anxious or nervous about something, I get more things to feel anxious and nervous about. And I've started a practice. I don't usually do it out loud unless people know what I'm doing, so they don't think I'm completely nuts. I'm pretty close, but So now I've been saying, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed to have this incredible conversation or whatever it is that I'm working on, right? Because when I put that frequency out into the mirror, I get more things to be happy about, more things to be grateful for, more incredible blessings than I could ever have imagined. I just find some simple practices make all the difference. Now, Mike, obviously, you probably didn't come with a magic wand, did you? Did you forget and leave that in your other pants? Because, so many of us would really like you to just go, poof, and now we are transformed and we never have to do this again. But usually it's a process, right? And it's an ongoing learning process. It's not a one and done. So if you were to share a baby step or two, what would be a couple of things that we could do right now to get going in the right direction?
So I'd say it's like this, right? And this is what the mystery man taught me in the book, The Creation Frequency, right? We have to divide our life into different areas. We have relationships, we have career, we have money, we have contribution, we have health, all these kind of things. So we have to look at life like that because we want a balanced life. If I'm very, very wealthy and my health sucks or my relationship with my kids sucks, what have I created? A mess. Right? So we have to have this balance. Then I would say to anybody, okay, now that you have this balance in your life, what's most important to you? What's the number one thing that you would like to manifest today? And say, okay, it's I want a relationship. I'm tired of being lonely. I want a relationship. Okay, then let's write an intention as if it already exists in this very moment. Because in reality, once you can imagine it, it does exist. And it's in this field of infinite possibilities right here. So when we can learn to turn off our mind, get into our heart, access this field of infinite possibilities, and then what I like to do is record these intentions, and now the power of my voice, the power of sound, which is super powerful. The Bible says that God spoke this world into existence. He said, let there be light, and there was light. So I put my intentions, I let them come out of my mouth, go into the field of infinite possibilities, and guess what? The right person shows up, the right book shows up, the right funding shows up, whatever it is I need. That's the law of attraction. But the mystery man taught me in a way that, one, there's no difference between imagination and reality. Put it on paper, get yourself in a self-hypnotic trance is what he taught me. and then record those intentions and listen to them every morning, right when you're coming out of Delta into Theta, and every night before you go to bed when you're going Beta, Alpha, Theta, listen again, and magical things happening. One, I'm telling my 50 trillion cells exactly what I want. I'm telling my reticular activating system exactly what to be looking for. But more importantly, and this is, I think, the superpower here, all of our subconscious minds, there's only one mind, and it's through our subconscious mind that we're all connected. So when I put these intentions using the power of sound and they go into this field, miracles happen. The right people show up, the right everything shows up. So that's what I would say.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I can't wait to read the book because it is so up my alley and I have not read it yet. And I can't wait, honestly. I read 4 or 5 books a week and I read really quickly. And I know this is one I'm just going to suck in really fast.
You'll read this one in 2 hours because I have an 8th grade education. So it's written very simply and it's short and it's right, concise, to the point.
That is perfect. That is perfect. Well, Mike, I know you've got this wonderful free gift for us. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, one thing, I have the creation frequency. We also created an online course, which I think it sells for $197 or something. But if your listeners want to send me an email at mike@mikemurphyunfiltered.com, I'd be happy to give them access to the course.
Wow, that's really cool.
And let me make one more offer for your listeners. And this is for people that, are going through something in their life, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. But you can go to mountainsofhope.com. That's our wellness resort here in Medellin, Colombia. And you can schedule a free consultation, health consultation with one of our doctors. And so if you have something physical going on, or you have a bad habit, an addiction, or anxiety, or depression, if something in your life isn't working right, go to mountainsofhope.com, schedule a free consultation, and we'll see if we're a good fit for you. If we can get you in, number one, and number two, if it's the right place for you, we'd love to have you there.
Oh, so beautiful and such a generous offer. Mike, I love your energy. I love your vibe. I so value where you're coming from because you truly do have this entire orientation around giving and sharing and supporting others.
Can I tell you why, Elaine?
Please.
I probably got this as a youngster through my mom, who was a saint to me, but I've always been a giver, but you can't outgive God. No. I mean, the Bible says is, running over, stuff it back, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the truth of the matter is, and I don't give to get, I give because that's who I am, because I've been in tough spots in my life and people have bailed me out and helped me. And that's why I wanted to write books, because I don't have a formal education. Books, you say you read 5 books a week. That was me for so many years, because that's how I learned, right? But we have to, you can't outgive God. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'll never forget this. As at a 2-week school to work with Byron Katie, right? And she said, if you want to break your ego, do something anonymously for somebody every day. Okay.
Oh,
and that will destroy the ego. And when you give, I might give money over here and a fabulous relationship will show up over there. I might give just my time over here and money will show up. And you never know what God's going to bless you with. But if you just go with an open heart to serve God, then you're going to be blessed beyond your wildest dreams.
I love that. Well, you know what? You're going to get it right now, because one of the things we always do with our guests, it's not the norm. We love to turn the tables on you because we know that when we give is when we receive the most. So, Mike, what can we do to serve you?
Well, honestly, just pass the word around about Mountains of Hope. This is my passion project. This is my legacy. This is my late wife's legacy. And there's not a wellness resort like this in the entire world. We're located 7,000 feet in the Andes Mountains. We have 20 wonderful acres. The nature, the energy, it's unbelievable. We're close to the equator. Because of our height and our close to the equator, we have the same temperature every day, 365 days a year, 55 to 75 degrees. The water that we make we use God's water. We really duplicate God's water, which was rainwater and full of minerals, and it's moving, and we structure it so the molecules are small. They get into your cells and hydrate you better. But I could go on and on and on, from biohacking. We imagine this. It's a 20-acre farm. We have a medical center on the farm. Okay, we have hyperbaric chamber, we have stem cells, we have exosomes, we have colonics, we have IVs, we have a state-of-the-art gymnasium. We have a saltwater swimming pool, jacuzzi. We have an infrared sauna imported from Finland. Then we spend 15 minutes in there and then 5 minutes in the cold plunge. We have an ice bath. We have a monastery. We have yogas, everything. I mean, there's nothing like this place in the world. So check out mountainsofhope.com. And if you know somebody that's struggling, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, to have them call and get a free consultation.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. You have given so much today, and I've taken so many notes. It's going to be challenging to pick just one thing to do the Activate Abundance segment around. This was great.
Awesome.
I can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
All right. Stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a minute. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Isn't Mike amazing? Oh my gosh, this guy just gave us so much to work with. I love his heart. I love where he's coming from. Step 1 to activate your abundance is always gratitude. Gratitude is the ignition switch to higher consciousness. Gratitude opens you up so that your peripheral vision is awake and aware so that you can receive all the blessings that are present. That's why the most powerful state of being is to be in grateful curiosity. That grateful curiosity makes you immediately present, leaning in, eager to figure out what's there for me. What are the blessings that are here for me? And Mike just showered us with blessings. I was really deliberating. Okay, I have to pick just one. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Now, I've heard this before, but there's a reason why you hear something again. It's because the divine is like, are you listening? Are you actually doing this? Because we may tell you and you may intellectually get it, but if you're not doing it, you don't really get it, honey. So get it this time. Well, I had to go with, are you stuck in your story? Oh man, when Mike said that, it was like this visceral, ooh, he's hit me where I live. Are you stuck in your story? Who are you pretending to be? Especially if you're pretending that you're a victim and you're not powerful and you aren't in partnership with the divine. Yeah, you are. And you can shift everything in your life really quickly if you're willing to let it shift. So step 1 is gratitude. Step 2 is to acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Step 3 is to appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, when you know that you made up the story, and often you're the hero or heroine of the story, and everybody else is the bad guy. That's just one perspective. And when you're willing to go, wait a minute, that's my personal story. What's the divine story? The divine story from divine context is this is here for your spiritual growth, darling. How are you growing? What are you learning? What are you practicing? How could you view this in a slightly different light? Like maybe from somebody else's perspective, because it's not all about you, it's all about us. Because we are all one, we are all united, we are all connected. So we can get out of our story. When we stop to think about it, we have the opportunity to totally shift and rewrite our story so that it's empowering and uplifting and enlivening. Why not go for that? Okay, step 1 is gratitude. Step 2 is acknowledge something that was an aha for you. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Step 4, activate it. This is where we take a concept and we make it real, physical, tangible, noticeable. It makes a difference in your life. There are 3 different ways that you can activate something. Either you schedule time to get it done. That's the first way. I count journaling with this. And one of the things I'm going to do is follow the wonderful exercise that Mike gave us, where we write out our intentions and record them in our own voice with our own passion that this is our new reality and this has already happened. And then listen to it in the morning as soon as you wake up and right before you go to sleep. I'm totally taking that on, and that takes time. So I'm putting that under the allocating time to get it done. That's the first way to activate it. The second way is to create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, you know what? Am I telling a story? Is this just a story that I'm putting out there and it's not really serving me? What's a more powerful story that could serve me? The third way to activate abundance is to work with an accountability buddy and make a commitment to how you want to show up. You know what? I'm trapped in my story when I'm saying this, or I'm acting like that, or I'm behaving as if, right? If you catch me doing any of those things, I want the hook. I want you to call me on it because that's not who I am. I want to be aware of my stories. Now, if I'm sharing a story that is empowering and uplifting and uniting, that's great. I'll keep those stories. But the ones that don't serve me, please point out when it's not serving me. Those are the 3 different ways that you can activate abundance. Schedule time to get it done, create a physical trigger, and work with an accountability buddy, and have ways that represent how you want to be and what you're not willing to be anymore. So powerful. Step 5, celebrate your progress. This is an amazing journey that you're on, this beautiful unfolding of who you truly are, this spiritual master. And you know what? Mastery means you're perpetually practicing. It's not a one and done. You will always receive new challenges and new opportunities to come from your higher self. Balance out your human self and celebrate your life. How can it get even better than this? I don't know, but I'll look forward to seeing you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.